Boom, what's happening? It's Ward Wrestling Live. We are back with my man Brant Parsons here as I'm trying to find my other computer here so we can see you, or well, you can see us. But man, what a week last week.
Yeah,
So much stuff happening. I guess first of all, man, how are you?
I'm good. I'm finally feeling almost normal again. We had 2 weekends of Frozen shows here with my daughters, and that means 2 weeks of um, Tech Week rehearsals. If anybody's ever done anything in theater, I didn't know what Tech Week was until I married into the theater. But it's basically rehearsals every night for 2 to 4 hours.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
so it's been crazy here, but yeah, as much as normal can get with 5 kids, we're getting back to it.
Well, that sounds fun.
It was.
Yeah, I saw the video of you posting about. I guess your wife was in the show as well.
Yes. Yeah,
Well,
she started. She was a theater major. She's like incredible and has led the kids into, or at least the girls, to that journey.
which is which is how they got into it. I'm guessing,
They
right?
didn't get it from me.
I didn't
There's
see you on
no
stage
no
singing.
musical theater genes in their body from me. That's for sure.
Yeah, I didn't see you on stage singing.
Nobody would. I would have cleared the place out if they had me singing.
Well, that sounds. Oh, there we go. Mute. All right, we're up and running.
All
Well, that's
right.
good, man. Yeah, there was so much going on. I mean, I started to try to go through it. I spent my weekend at the Moskowitz.
That was a good one.
I was lucky to be able to be there for both days. My son won a blood round match late Friday night to advance the second day. So that was awesome for me. So I got to be there both days, which I'm very happy about because the second day, a lot of really cool stuff happened. And so it was cool. Proud
I
of
mean, I
him.
gotta say, this past weekend, and as someone who's been looking at every single result from the weekend, really since at some point Sunday night, since from now and from then until now, insane amount of action this weekend, insane amount of good events, insane amount of big matches, and kind of the last push, because as we're seeing, teams are starting to shut it down. There's some action this weekend. You have GMAX. I know like Gibson has an event. There's a couple other ones going on out there, Metro, here in Orlando. But this was kind of like the last big push, and now you start kind of in this odd season, you start protecting and avoiding so everybody can be healthy and available when district starts. I was thinking today, 2 weeks from now, when we do the show, of course we'll do it on a Tuesday, but we're going to already be in the middle of district week. I know there's at least one district on that Monday. So we are wrapping up and ramping up at the same time.
Yeah, it's like you said, I think everybody got their wrestling in this week. There's a couple of good tournaments coming up next week, like you said, GMAC and the Braves and the Metro. But then talking to coaches this weekend, and then speaking to you because you spoke to coaches, and then seeing kind of the social media posts, I feel like any tournament that is happening between those last 2 weeks, I think a lot of teams are backing out. A lot of teams are pulling their
You're gonna see. It's gonna be good for some, because I think you're gonna see a lot of kids that may not be wrestling in the districts. That some of these deep teams, they're gonna have B teams out there, and some kids are gonna get mat time that maybe haven't had a lot this year. But I really don't think. At least I'm planning it in my head rankings wise, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of top guys just take that risk and be out there. And I know some need reps. I know in South Florida, Broward County, I don't even think they've been back a month yet. So it's really a tough call for them. But at the same time, you'd hate to lose a kid that can podium or even make it to state, or for some schools, even make it deep in the regions, not be able to, just because you went and wrestled some, IBT on Saturday, the week before districts, and got exposed, to no fault of their own. So I think it's going to be a different look than we're used to seeing the last couple weeks of the season. Usually it's filled with conference tournaments, county tournaments. We've already, you and I were talking before, and we've already seen 4 or 5 of those already take place. some of the ones that are on the last weekend have been moved to this weekend coming up. So they're trying to get all these things out and then kind of ramp up and get ready for postseason. I know some teams have always kind of done that. They don't like to wrestle the last weekend before, but now there's a not just an injury risk, but it's a risk of not being able to, just because of, you know, current medical conditions. But this past weekend, man, geez, just so much stuff everywhere. I don't even know where to begin on it. So I'll let you lead the way, but just so much, so many events. I'm thankful for everybody that shared videos. I was able to watch some of these videos from the comfort of my home of people that shot them and such, and just so much going on all across the state, everywhere.
Yeah, I could, and I'm looking around from the Flagler Rotary and the Live Greco, and then the Moskowitz, and then of course you had all these county championships going on, and everywhere great wrestling was happening, right?
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure stuff out and do things, but I mean, I guess first of all, the BCAA championships happened. Gibbons won that. Cypress Bay came in second. So I'm thinking that's
an interesting setup for the BCAA. For those that don't know it, it's the Broward County Athletic Association. So it's not just public schools, there's some private schools in it too. Cardinal Gibbons, St. Thomas. It's really, it's one of my, I am 305. So my favorite obviously is the GMAX. But I always have enjoyed, you know, seeing what goes on at the BCAAs. They actually had qualifiers midweek, and, you know, they worked really hard, the folks that put this on. And I don't want to name some names because I know there are some I'll leave out, but the coaches and personnel that put this together was really quite incredible with just the restrictions that they're working under in Broward. But they had qualifiers midweek. I think one of the qualifiers was on Friday. The other one was on Wednesday. The top four at each qualifier qualified for the BCAAs. It took place on Saturday at Coral Springs. Just 8 kids in a bracket, no fans. And they were able to pull it off. And I know that meant a huge deal to the kids and parents and everybody in Broward to be able to pull that off. And I think, I don't know exactly how the GMAX are being set up this weekend, but I mean, as of state duels, we didn't even know if the GMAX are going to happen, and they're taking place this weekend at Coral Reef. So I'm excited for that. But lots of work to put these things on this year, even more so than usual. And then Cardinal Gibbons gets the win. They keep coming on strong. Cypress Bay, another big tournament for them. St. Thomas doing well. And just the fact that the BCAAs got in, I think is a testament to how hard some folks are really working to make these things happen, give these opportunities out there.
Yeah, and there's a great article that came out in the Miami Herald about Cardinal Gibbons and their 2 young coaches.
Yeah.
Twins, and and what they're doing there. They themselves won this thing 3 times when they were wrestlers there. So a good article if you want to check it out. I don't know if you saw it yet.
I honestly, and I know everybody's like probably, well, one, they're wondering where we were yesterday, and 2, they're like, hey, when are you going to update your rankings? I'm actually doing that today. I've got a bunch of different meetings and calls and stuff, but throughout the day, it takes a couple hours to make them presentable. Once I've done them, I've finished them. They're updated for the week, and they'll be coming out. But that's all I've been doing really all week.
Yeah, my dad lives down in South Florida, so anytime there's good wrestling articles, when he's reading the paper, he shoots.
Oh, that's good.
So I get to see him, so that's cool. But you know, a couple other conference championships. We had the Cape Coast, the Gateway, Palm Bay and Heritage go 1 and 2 at the Cape Coast. Fletcher and Mandarin go 1 and 2 at the Gateway. What do you think about those 2?
Cape Coast is actually where I live, out here on the Space Coast. So I take some interest in that. Some good matchups there. I'll tell you, Palm Bay still wrestling strong. Just counting up real quick. I lost track how many they had. 10 champions in this one, and 1 close matches. You know, kind of the toss-up matches. They took home a lot of those. But some really top level kids there. That was an interesting one for me to follow. Heritage is having a good season, obviously, but Palm Bay is just one of the top teams in 1A, obviously, and they showed it off there. I did not dive too deep into Gateway, but they were able to have an IBT throughout, except for at 06. Anna Bradshaw won at 106. Always love to point out when the girls are doing big things. But Fletcher, again, talking about deep teams in a conference, they had 6 or 7 champs, or maybe 5 champs, maybe in that one. But just again, just it's cool that they're getting these things in, because at some point, some of these you didn't know if they were going to happen. I know the Cape Coast one was iffy for a bit, and ended up being able to be put on. So all those things just good to see.
Well, it's cool for me when I'm looking at these things, because I don't know who has wrestling teams and who doesn't. So sometimes when I see some of these conference tournaments, I'm like, oh, they wrestle, they wrestle, they wrestle. I learn, and they may be very, very good. I'm not in the area. I haven't seen them wrestle. So it's pretty cool to learn new names and new programs
Absolutely.
and kind of see them on. But we had the Flagler Rotary, which is typically a very, very big tournament. It looks like it was
Typically an IBT. It went duels this year.
it was still pulled some really big names. I know usually they get more, but with everything going on, it just happened to be that way. But a big showdown between Fleming Island and American Heritage at the end there, huh?
Yeah. Both. I know American Heritage was missing a couple starters. I'm trying to remember how many are out for Fleming, but Fleming, I'll tell you, they've just keep coming on strong this year. They kind of entered the season. I could not get a read of how deep they were, but they've really had some kids step up and get better week by week. Their bookends at 06 and 85 have gotten better and better each week. And I mean, not taking anything away from American Heritage either. I mean, to get to the final of that, there were still some good teams there. But just again, it's odd because the Flagler Rotary and then this week's the Clay Rotary, those are kind of like those Northeast tournaments that you kind of watch for like IBT stuff at the end. And it was cool they were able to put this off in the setup that they did. Kids got lots of action over the 2 days, and then you end up having, as you said, the good teams at the end. They're with a nice final, and congrats to Fleming Island for the win there.
And I think it's pretty cool. We've seen a lot of where the guys and girls and people putting on these tournaments have decided, you know what, kids aren't getting the wrestling that they usually do. So why don't we change it a little bit so that they get matches in? Because that's what's important. And you've seen a lot of tournament directors kind of change the criteria and the way they're doing things just to let these kids wrestle instead of worrying about, my kid needs a win or that kid needs a win or we need to move up in the rankings. I think you've seen a lot of adjustments that cared about wrestling as a whole.
It's a lot harder for me, but it's great for the kids, because I look at every match and there's a lot more when you have 9 duels over 2 days or however many that they did there.
Yes, because then you just see the duel wins, right? And then you got to break down, find a way to find the matches that happened inside that, right?
Yep. It's easier in track, as the ones that Shannon or I type up take a little bit more. I mean, I'm being somewhat sarcastic and complaining, but it does take longer when it's a duel to find and make sure that I get all the results I need to be able to make sure those are perfectly done.
Well, it looked like the Gene Gorman went off, and they had some powerhouses down there, huh?
Yeah, I actually noted 2 huge matches that took place there. Braden Basile, Andrew Austin went at it again. They wrestled in the knockout final. Basile won 8-3 at Charlotte. He's 2-0 on the season in that one. Imagine they'll be wrestling again, hopefully. Not against the other kids, but if they do wrestle again, hopefully it's a final and not a semifinal at the state tournament. And Jack Crook beat Christian Motor again for the second time this season. Of course, Motor beat Crook last year in the state tournament, and Crook won down there 6-3 in that one. So for the results I've seen, he's 2-0 on the season against Motor. But those are just buried in duels down there, and like these fantastic, amazing matchups just kind of happen in the middle of a duels tournament. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And of course, well, we had some D1 did a little D1 Sundays that they've been doing all season to get the little kids wrestling and the JV wrestling, and they had a lot of fun down there. But Okay, let's get into it. The Liv Greco and the
Yeah, let's get into the two. Oh, we can talk the one you were at first if you want. If you want to talk
yeah.
Moskowitz.
And I mean, I know we had Timber Creek went off. They had some good matches over there. Um, but I think the ones that everybody's talking about are these two, wouldn't you say?
I think so. I mean, you had at Moskowitz, you had South Dade, you had Riverdale, you had Harmony, you had Freedom here in Orlando. Obviously, host George Jenkins. You ended up with some just really great finals there. Probably the shocker of the weekend. Brennan Reed doing good things at Orlando Freedom, pins Adrian Nico in the finals at 145. Just showcasing how difficult that weight is going to be. As it comes up, you had I'm trying to think some of the other ones that stood out. Nate Luters and Brett McNichols at 26.
Soto and Cordell White.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a big one. Not even in the finals that took place, and just a lot of top guys. I'm just kind of looking over here. I'm trying to think what else stuck out to me.
I think we saw that a little bit of that coming because Riverview and South Dade just wrestled to a great tournament at
Riverdale. Yeah.
Right. And
yeah. They did. And
now we
this
saw
was
those matchups happen again, right?
We actually did. We saw some of them happen again, and we saw a kind of a switch, and we saw Sawyer Bartel move to 95. That's where he's going to finish the year, and he wrestled really well there. Craig Silliman, who has wrestled anywhere that Coach Vic has asked him, he was at 95 a lot. He is not 95 with weights on. He moved to 82, wrestled well there, beat Peyton Kramer from Admiral Farragut 6'3", so a nice win for him. Josh Swan. I mean, so South Dade had some champs there, and Riverdale did, and I think that sets up to some really good 3A finals that are going to come. And again, just Brennan Reed, that's just a monster win. If I had time this week to do wrestlers of the week, he'd have been one of them. But we're just trying to keep our head above water.
It was insane to watch him wrestle. I watched him wrestle a few times throughout the week. He had a really good win over Leighton Tinch, who's a ranked kid. Then he went off and did what he did against Nico. Just to see his power and to see his grittiness and the way he wrestles, it's a little bit different. You know, he's a grinder and tough and strong. Very difficult to take down. His lower body is strong. You can see where he stays real low to the ground. It was fun. Another one that I had a fun
I was going to say, you need to talk about some of your favorites there since you were watching them.
One of my favorite was watching Kaylee Reese get all the way through to the semifinals.
Yes.
That was fun. You know, she ran into Poe, who obviously is a beast, and it didn't work out for her there. But, you know, talking to the Freedom coaches, they said they were in the coaches meeting and said, hey, you may want to seat this girl. I mean, she's pretty damn good. And they kind of blew it off from what I understand. And she went and had a good tournament. So good for her. Obviously, you mentioned the Brandon Reed, which will be in my wrestlers to shout out. We saw Sawyer Bartel. We saw Craig Silliman. A lot of Harmony kids, man, did some big things this weekend. We saw Harmony showed up and wrestled well. Riverdale.
Yeah, Nelson Toro and John McNichols both won for Harmony. They had 5 finalists and really were, you know, neck and neck with Riverdale at one point in the tournament in the team scores, and a really strong performance for them. And Jeremiah Jackson from Kathleen beating Darren Davis. I always want to give the big guys. Big guys don't get enough love. I always got to give credit to the 285s that are still wrestling when everybody's packing up their stuff.
The kid Remwell from Admiral Farragut was up before the forfeit.
You mean Lermer?
Huh?
You mean Roman Lermer?
Roman Lermer, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like 25-0 this season or something, so he's having a good season there. But just a lot of fun stuff to watch. You saw some of the young Lake Gibson kids were there that were doing big things. So the future's bright for those kids. 2 of them beat my son, both losses to Lake Gibson kids. So that was great.
Yeah, Lake Gibson A team was at home for alumni day wrestling against Springstead on Saturday. They had had alumni out there, and we're done early enough that Walk could get out to the golf course. So
and get beat by his by one of his wrestlers, I heard. uh, but yeah, I think all in all, it was a good tournament. George Jenkins did a great job there. They had some kids that did well. Um, they placed the top 8, especially they had some big brackets, 32-man brackets at like the middleweights.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
I looked at them all.
Yeah, it was insane, man. I just had a really good time, and obviously, Brandon Reed is the one that I think shocked everybody this weekend.
And then you have the Live Greco moved to River Ridge this year, so it could be hosted because of protocol and restrictions in Hillsborough County, and just another just
they added strokes to his score.
That's funny. I got a note on this that I was going to want to come out to see the finals, and honestly, if I didn't have a million things going on and some other things in my family, I really would have thought to get out there, but just loaded. I mean, I'm looking at state champs losing in the finals. I mean, that's just how good the Live Greco finals were. You had Cooper Haas, who I've moved to the number 1 at 120 this week, beating Noah Waddle. Jacobs Hines over Ethan Mohina. I was able to watch a video of that. Hines is just beating everybody right now. You had Van Hooky. Van Hooky. I always get that wrong. Van Hooky goes against Melguizo, beats him again, this time 8-3. He pinned him in the at the knockout. You had Jonathan Conrad going against Brian Berberhia. I always get that one wrong too. Just my apologies.
How about that match? It was like 2-1 or something, right?
9-8 actually. That was 9-8. Tylen Lukens beats Sean Concepcion 3-1. Those are two guys that are ranked high. You have
the
Desmond
tournament.
Mahmoudi wins.
Telez had a great tournament, right?
Who's that?
Telez at Southwest Miami.
He reached the final and faced Tyler Washburn, who's wrestling really well for Palmetto Ridge. He won that one. I wanted to give Desmond Mahmoudi credit at 285. Always give love to the big guys. Sudden victory win over Grant Gelazin. And also to note in this one, in case anybody's wondering, because I was, you had Caleb Negron wrestling for Osceola and knocking off number 1, number 3, and a number 4 to win that one. I looked it up. I believe it's probably the same Caleb Negron that has been wrestling in some pretty big national events from Pennsylvania, wrestling for Osceola now, and wins that one and kind of introduces himself on the scene. Going through what may have been one of the tougher brackets, and he was unranked and showed up in the bracket going against the top ranked kid at 3A, Dylan Sparkman, and they wrestled in the first round there. And he ended up going on and winning that tournament.
Wow. How about Dylan Sparkman pulling that one, huh?
Well, Dylan, that he ended up winning the consolation, the way the brackets were set up. If you lost in the first round, then you just wrestled consolation and you didn't get to wrestle back for third, and he bounced back and was dominant the rest of the way. But yeah, can you imagine pulling that in that first one? And
yeah, you don't know who the kid is, right?
Yeah. But I'm just
welcome to the show, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Darian Estevez Somerset wins. He beats Alec Chitty, who's at Palm Harbor University now. That was a good final there, 5-2. I mean, just so many just big time kids wrestling. And like I said, anytime you see state champs losing, you know it's tough, because that's how tough this tournament was. And again, another one of those situations where this doesn't take place without the hard work of those involved and finding a place and making sure it happens. And then you get, the talent to show up. You had Southwest Miami there. You had Palmetto Ridge. You had Palm Harbor University. You had Somerset. They were missing some starters. They were there. Osceola, Manatee. Just so many good.
The Petita brothers had a good tournament, right? I think one.
They did. Michael won, and I forget how deep. I don't have it in front of me. I forget how deep his brother, but he beat Brandon Moreno at 160 to win 4-3. So yeah, Palm Harbor University building up a formidable lineup ahead of the postseason too.
Don't sleep on them. I think that.
And they had a kid, I believe, moved in from Michigan, Maximus Kaiser. He made his debut for them at 82. If I don't have the bracket in front of me, and I looked him up. I have not confirmed, but I believe had been wrestling in Michigan.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm sure they'll have Sparkman ready again next time, and good job for Negron. I'm sure he'll be ready. And Matthew Avramitis just said, great first round matchup. Going to be a fun round 2 when they meet again. So that'll be good. Yeah, and of course, man. So just a few things that I wanted to touch on. First of all, shout out Flow and Track came out with their rankings. At 152 for Florida, number 9 on Flow is John Lay, number 7 on Track. Crook, number 12 on Flow, number 11 on Track. His brother, number 7 on Flow, number 6 on Track. Jacus Hines, 18 on Flow, went down 1, which I don't get, but he's number 10 on Track. Brennan Van Hooky makes his debut on Flow at 132. Track doesn't have him ranked, which I find to be unbelievable. 106, we got Ethan Rivera at number 19 on Flow, number 13 on Track, and Mohina is on Track at number 20. So congratulations to those Florida boys. I know there's a lot of Florida girls out there that are still ranked. We just haven't seen the updated rankings. So if you've seen updated rankings, send them to me, and I'll shout out the girls as well, like I did last time. But I want to shout out some wrestlers, and you can talk about them as I go.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one is, let's do this one first. Isabelle Rose Avramitis. She's 4 years old from Palm Harbor, the Canes Wrestling Club. She got her first little medal and her first win ever this weekend. And I think her dad's exact words, which is Coach Avramitis, was, it might have been the greatest day of my life. I've seen his reaction to his kids when they're not blood. So I would have loved to seen his reaction to one that is blood, but shout out to little Isabelle Rose Avramitis.
There you go. That's great.
So, Coach, shout out to you. Another one, Kaylee Reese, doing big things. They had her come into the boys tournament just to get some work and see where she stands. I think she came.
I mean, I think she's going to be on the boys team the rest of the way. She's so talented at that level. I don't know for certain, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her compete both boys and girls. She's just such a talented wrestler. Has spent most of her life wrestling with boys, so she's used to it. And kudos to her to kind of beating out she was not seeded how she should have been for that tournament, and I'm glad to have seen her maybe prove some folks wrong.
Yes, a fun tournament to watch. Also, I think you touched on this, Basile getting the best of Austin again.
Yep.
I think you talked about that, and you talked about Crook over Motter, which I think we'll see a few times. But another guy, Brennan Van Hooky, now 35-0. He finally breaks in the top 20. Is this kid going to get beat?
I have not seen anybody at 32 that's going to compete with him, and to beat Malguizo twice fairly convincingly. He looks as good as anybody I've seen out there. It's about time he got nationally ranked.
Yeah, he well deserved. I don't know what Track is doing, but they need to check out some of his work.
Florida, they're always slow on Florida.
Yeah, Jacus Hines, now 31-1. His only loss is to one of the Crook brothers, which he's not the only one to get handed to. Those two, they're fantastic brothers. But now
one note on back to Brennan. I have not been able to. They have not faced that I know of, at least not in a season. But don't forget, Gianni Maldonado at Brandon is 32 this year. So they're both undefeated on the season combined. I think 57-0 right now. So that could be an interesting if they meet at the Silver Spurs Arena.
Oh, nice. Well, shout out to Gianni Maldonado and his family over there.
But go on. What was the next one you were?
I didn't see any results from this weekend for him, but I know
he won the Palmetto Pride IBT down at Palmetto High School.
Oh, good.
The West Coast, not Miami Palmetto, not my Palmetto, but at Palmetto.
Nice. Well, shout out to the Maldonado family. They're fantastic people. So, and obviously their son is doing good things. But yeah, Jacus Hines now 31-1, a big 3-0 win over Mohina.
And he's had just a heck of a couple weeks. Wrestled up, knocked off Din at state duels, the win over Mohina. He's got a win over Kudo. Is that
Odo.
at South Dade? He's just kind of racked up some big wins at 38, and has had a couple huge ones the last couple of weeks, and kudos to him. He's really bringing it on to finish his senior year off.
Yeah, good for him, and great kid, great family, great program. So,
and that's a fun weight, 38, because Joe Gonzalez is still sitting out there at Winter Park. He's making his Winter Park debut this week. I've confirmed, and he's sitting there at 38, which will at one point last year he was ranked number 1 in the state by me. What do I know? But he's still lurking there at 38, and that could make that even more fun.
Yeah, and a great kid, great wrestler. I like him a lot, and his little brother is a beast.
Yes.
But Mason Arnold, shout out to him. Obviously, he won this weekend, but on a bigger note, he commits to your alma mater.
No, that's not my alma mater. My alma mater is UCF. My family love is the Ohio State University.
Oh, your family love is.
My sister went to the Ohio State University. I am actually a UCF alum.
And I should know that because
I don't like cold.
But
just cheer for them.
But now, how big of a Mason Arnold fan have you become that he can with the Ohio State?
He's going to be a heck of a long snapper for him. I will be cheering hard for him. I cheer for all these guys when they go on to the next level. I even cheer for the ones that go to Clemson.
Well, congratulations to Mason Arnold and his commitment there. And who knows? Maybe he'll try to roll on the mat a little bit with those guys. But yeah. We definitely know he's going to be the long snapper there. He was the #1 long snapper recruit in the country.
2 Florida guys won this weekend for Ohio State. Elijah Cleary and Singletary got the win at 97 for Ohio State against Maryland. So I watched that this weekend.
Oh, well, congratulations to those guys. I know the Cleary family.
OH, everybody.
Good. So again, congratulations to you, Mason Arnold. You deserve it. Go keep kicking life's ass, my friend. But Mamundi, and I think they call him Big Baby. Tell me if I'm right, Matthew Avramitis, but Mamundi,
I've heard that.
I heard they put on a show, sudden victory, 2-1. I don't know if it was like 2 sumo wrestlers going at it, or if it was like they were just that good against each other.
Yeah, so if someone has video of that, send it to me. I want to watch it.
But yeah, I mean, Mamundi has been doing big things this year. Galazin has been doing big things this year. So it looks like, shout out to them for that.
285 and 3. I mean, it's always like I don't know how many times I've used this quote in things I've written. I always remember the first person to say it to me was Scott Gomrad, who's the AD at Winter Springs. He was the wrestling coach at the time. He said at 285, anybody can fall on anybody at any time. But I mean, just looking at 285 for 3A, I mean, really all the weights, but 3A, you have Big Baby at Palm-Humber University.
Baby G. I'm sorry, Baby G.
Baby G. Okay, Baby G. You have Josh Frace from Douglas, who was a state placer last year. You have Fort Pierce Central that has 2 guys that could win. I don't know which one will end up being in that. You have Sands from Southwest Miami. You have Mason Powell from Wellington. You have Gerald Greaves from Dr. Phillips. I mean, so many guys there that on any given Saturday night at Silver Spurs could find themselves on top of the podium. That I'm looking forward to that. Stick around to the end, everybody.
Yeah,
the 285s are going to be good this year.
There was a young, forget his first name. There was a young Walker kid that wrestled at Moskowitz who did well. He went all the way to the 4th, 5th. It was the 4th place, 5th place match, or 5th place, 6th place match, and he got 5th place there. But he beat my son at one time. But he had a really good tournament, and he seems like a really good kid over there at Lake Gibson. They do really well. But shout out to him. He had a real good tournament. I forgot to mention him. But Sawyer Bartel, a freshman, I know during the season, he's 25-0. In the preseason, I saw him go 1-1 versus Lukens. We were hoping to see that matchup again in the knockout. It just didn't come to fruition.
And it's not going to now because Sawyer is going to wrestle 95. So Nolan Eady is going to be the interesting match if that can take place at 95, the senior for Osceola.
Nice. Well, I saved the best for last. Was and I'm sorry, Mr. Nico, I do love you. You're a great kid as well. However, this was a big win for Brandon Reed at Freedom.
Brennan Reed.
Brendan Reed.
Brennan, no D.
Oh, Brennan Reed at Freedom.
Brennan Reed.
Congratulations to you, Brennan Reed. What a tremendous tournament. And the way you handled Mr. Nico was unbelievable. Congratulations to you. What do you think of this kid, man? He really looks like when he's on, he's on.
I mean, Freedom, they just do such a great job of taking these kids and developing them. And I don't know when he started. Oftentimes these kids don't start until they get to Freedom, but they get them so ready by their senior year, and glad to see this kid. I think I've exchanged emails with him a couple times. Just a real bright, polite kid, and not one of those emails I get that aren't polite. But yeah, just to see him win that, and then add even more fun to 45 with Den and Nico there. Now we have Reed mixed in with that should be a fun one at the state tournament also.
Yeah, it was impressive. I must say, it was impressive. He looked really good all tournament. I mean, he never was down. He never looked like he was in trouble at any point during the tournament. And Coach Bush told me, when he's on, he's on.
And he was on.
He definitely was on. So good luck to him. I look forward to seeing. Now is Freedom and South Dade in the same? Are they both 3A?
They're both 3A. Freedom is in 3A3. Obviously, South Dade's in 3A4. So.
And Din as well, correct?
And Din as well. He's in 2A28, not 2A, wow. 3A8.
And they would not see each other. None of them would see each other again until state.
None of them will see each other until the state tournament, depending on how those brackets play out.
Wow, what a win.
So one of those, if everything goes chalk and it's those three, and certainly there's a lot of kids I'm sure that might hear this and be like, yeah, they're not going to make it there. But assuming those three reach the semifinals in Kissimmee, two of them would face each other in that round.
And that would be a joy for us fans.
There'll be some great semifinals this year. You can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, listen, last year was that way, right?
I mean, there's always some. I mean, there's always a few that you'd want to end the tournament with if you could, and they end up in the semifinals. Tal Shahar and Rivera last year was probably at least the most talked about match, and it was a semifinal. Sometimes that's just how the brackets lay out, and you wake up on Sunday morning after regions, at least I do, and you're the first thing you do is look and see which semifinals are going to stick out the most.
Yeah, I remember when they made that bracket. I think a lot of people would have liked to see those two under the lights, but it didn't work out that way. And they might as well should have just stopped the state tournament when they were wrestling, because I don't think anybody was watching.
I mean, there are others wrestling, but everybody was watching. The entire arena seemed to have switched to that side.
It was insane, and I hope we see that again. But yeah, man, what a week! Not much going on this week, right? I think we mentioned.
I mean, there's still some stuff. I don't want to knock. This will be, and I think next weekend will be really sparse. I know there usually is the tournament in Jupiter that won't be going on. He usually gets some folks together for that. Obviously, we don't have like the Tri-County this year, which would have been, I think, this past weekend. So there's like some big events these last couple of weeks that aren't taking place, and then just the reality of guys not wrestling. But you have Clay Rotary. We've got to give love to the folks up north. That's a big one this weekend. Again, GMAX. You have Metros in Orlando. You have Seminole Athletic Conference, Seminole County, just north of Orlando, is going on this weekend. You have an IBT at Cypress Bay. You have an IBT at Arnold. I have not looked deep enough to see like how loaded how many teams are at those. Mainland is hosting the bi-county championship. I wonder if that's kind of a 5-star conference kind of mix and match. American Heritage is hosting something. Ida Baker is hosting something. Northport is hosting something. Lake Gibson has the Braves Invitational, which may be one of the top ones of the ones that are out there. So, I mean, there's a lot of events. There's smaller events, and this will be the last weekend you might see some of these kids in Till districts. Just one, there's just not, I know there's a lot of folks even trying to find events the last weekend. There's just not a lot out there to choose from. Some folks wanting to get their kids some final action. Just to note real quick, Lake Gibson is going to have Cardinal Gibbons there. Carrollwood Day will bring their stars there. Tampa Freedom has 2 really good wrestlers that are going to be there. Palmetto Ridge is there. Springstead is there. St. Augustine is there. And, a few other teams that will have some top guys there. So, I mean, that might be one of the better ones, non-county. That'll be the better non-county ones to watch. I'll be following the GMAX because I always love to see what goes on in the 305. So there's a lot out there this weekend, but it seemed like this past weekend was like the big crescendo, and now we're playing out everything, getting ready for the district tournament.
Rock is there as well
Who's there?
I think Tenorock is at the.
Yeah, Tenorock is there. So lots of top kids that'll be over there getting kind of a final go at Lake Gibson before we get.
Yeah, I'm hoping Leighton Tinch hurt his elbow in that match with Brennan Reed, so he had pulled out, but hoping his elbow's fine for that.
And the Metro in Orlando is actually being split up into 2. So we won't have a full Metro even. There's a Metro East, Metro West, going back to how it was a couple of years ago before they combined them again. The Orange Belt is going on at Kissimmee. So yeah, JV States is this weekend. That's something to note. That's always a pretty big tournament. That's at Osceola on Friday and Saturday. And then the Women's Metro here in Orlando is actually taking place today over at Dr. Phillips. That's always a good tournament because Orlando, Orange County has kind of been one of the forerunners of top girls wrestling, and they'll battle it out today at Dr. Phillips.
Yeah, he reached out, but I have stuff to do with my kids tonight, so I couldn't get out there, but I do appreciate him reaching out to me. I was trying to see here. I know CFWA had a Rumble last weekend. Keep your eyes open. You may see them release a Rumble this weekend. I don't know, but there's rumors that there might be one this weekend. So keep your eyes open, see if they post one. But if you have an event going on this weekend that has not been promoted yet, or we don't know about, please let us know about it. We'll share it. We'll talk about it.
Yep. I tend to, if it's on track, I usually always know about it.
Yeah. But, sometimes people will put on like these little rumbles or these practices, or, like D1 does some cool little stuff, little things down there. In His Image does some stuff. BB Train does some stuff. Lake Island Prep does some stuff. And, Irons and all those guys. So if you have something, let us know and I'll share it for you. But other than that, man, have a great week. Thanks for the great wrestling this last week. It was really fun to watch. And
my rankings will be out today. I'm not gonna say when, because like I said, I got a call at 11, at 1, at 2. So at some point today, we'll have updated rankings. I know it's been a lot. People are still looking at them. I see the numbers. Everybody's looking at them every day. I wonder if they're just checking to see if I've fixed them.
Well, in the last couple of weeks, there's been some big wins, so I'm sure kids are looking to see.
They're excited. They want to see where everybody's going to be. They'll know today.
I'm guessing that Din is 1, Brennan Reed is 2 now.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I can tell you. Yep, there's your exclusive. Din, Reed, Nico, 1, 2, 3 at 3A 145.
That's what I was guessing, because we saw Din win and then we saw Brennan win. I'm sure they'll have Nico ready for that again. I'm sure Brennan Reed will be ready. Din will be ready. Man, can I just pay money to watch them do a round robin? I would like to see that again. That was awesome. Maybe we can throw in some others in there like Joe and Jake and can we just do like a big little round robin of those 2 weights, and I just
Oh,
want
there's all sorts of round
to
robins I like to put together.
yeah,
I'd
I'd like to put them all
just
together.
throw 38s all in one bag and let them go. Throw 45s in one bag. Throw 285s. Yeah, there's a lot of that out there.
It would be good. All right, well, until next week, my friend.
Yes, everybody get out there, be safe, have fun, and be nice when you read my rankings with your emails to me.
See you, bud.
I'm in a very sensitive place, so I
Yeah.
take it easy on any anger.
Have you ranked any of the actors and actresses yet?
Well, we've broken down all the shows, so we know who we liked and what.
Oh, perfect. All right, I'll see you later.
All right.